A chilling text, a desperate cry for help, and a case that would leave an entire community in disbelief. Mahogany Jackson, a vibrant 20-year-old mother, had her whole life ahead of her, but one February evening, she sent a text that no parent ever hopes to receive. In just a few short words, she revealed the unthinkable. "Help! I'm being held hostage." The message was brief, but its weight was immeasurable. A silent scream for survival in a moment of unimaginable terror. Her location was sent, a faint clue in a desperate race against time. What followed was a chain of events so harrowing, so deeply unsettling, that even seasoned investigators struggled to comprehend the horror they uncovered. This was not an accident. This was not a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The events that led to Mahogany's tragic fate were calculated, deliberate, and chillingly orchestrated. It was a crime that sent shockwaves far beyond her Alabama community, raising questions no one was prepared to answer. Tonight, we explore the final hours of Mahogany Jackson's life, the search for justice that followed, and the truths that continue to haunt all who knew her. This is her story. Welcome to True Crime Files, your ultimate destination for uncovering the untold stories of mystery, crime, and justice. Here, we don't just tell you what happened. We take you through the lives, the evidence, and the search for answers that demand to be found. If you share our commitment to shedding light on the darkest corners of humanity and bringing justice to the forefront, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Together, we can ensure that these stories are never forgotten and that the voices of the victims are heard loud and clear. Let's begin. Mahogany Jackson was just 20 years old, a mother to a young child and a woman full of dreams. Her life revolved around her family and the future she was building for her child. By all accounts, she was kind, caring, and full of promise. But on February 25th, her life took a devastating turn that no one could have anticipated. That evening, Mahogany sent a message to her mother, a message that would send chills down anyone's spine. It was a plea for help. "Help! I'm being held hostage." Along with those words, she shared a location. Imagine receiving such a text from someone you love, the weight of fear and helplessness crashing down all at once. Law enforcement acted quickly, but time was not on their side. By the following day, Mahogany's lifeless body was discovered in a desolate area on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama. She had been shot in the back of the head, a cold and calculated act that left investigators reeling. The area where she was found was remote and eerily quiet. There were no signs of a struggle, no immediate evidence to point to the people responsible. It was clear that whoever committed this crime wanted to ensure that Mahogany's voice was silenced forever. But they underestimated the strength of the community, the persistence of the investigators, and the legacy of the young woman they tried to erase. From the very beginning, this was a case that demanded answers. The sheer brutality of the crime left law enforcement determined to find those responsible. Within days, their investigation led to the arrests of 8 individuals, all of whom played a role in the events that led to Mahogany's death. The suspects ranged in age from just 18 to 26, a grim reminder of how young lives can become entangled in such devastating acts. Among them was Francis Harris, who prosecutors allege was the one to pull the trigger. Harris, along with Brandon Pope and Jeremiah McDowell, faced charges of capital murder during a kidnapping. Additional charges of sodomy initially accompanied these accusations, but were later dismissed during a preliminary hearing for some of the suspects. But these 3 were not alone. Giovanni Clapp, Blair Green, and Cinia McCall were also charged with kidnapping and murder. Each played a role in ensuring that Mahogany's fate was sealed, according to investigators. Then there was Teja Lewis facing felony murder charges, and Ariana Lachey Robinson, whose alleged involvement added yet another layer to this already complex and disturbing case. Prosecutors described the crime as especially heinous, a term reserved for acts of extreme cruelty and disregard for human life. They've made it clear that they will pursue the harshest penalties available under the law. For these 8 suspects, their lives are forever changed, their futures now entangled in the pursuit of justice for Mahogany Jackson. As the investigation unfolded, details began to emerge that painted a clearer picture of what happened in Mahogany's final hours. It was revealed that Mahogany knew some of her captors. This wasn't a random act of violence, but rather one involving individuals she had interacted with before. This revelation added a layer of complexity to the case, raising questions about trust, relationships, and how such betrayal could occur. The community played a vital role in the investigation. Tips poured in, leading investigators to the suspects and connecting the pieces of this tragic puzzle. Law enforcement worked tirelessly, following every lead and piecing together a timeline that could hold up in court. Detectives uncovered evidence that pointed to a deliberate and premeditated plan. Mahogany's kidnapping wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act. It was something orchestrated, a calculated series of decisions that ultimately led to her murder. The exact motive remains a point of speculation, but the charges paint a grim picture of what Mahogany endured in her final hours. Law enforcement officials spoke out about the case, describing it as one of the most disturbing they had encountered in their careers. Their determination to bring justice for Mahogany was evident in every step they took. As they delved deeper, the picture that emerged was one of both tragedy and resilience, as her family and the community rallied to ensure her story would not end in silence. Mahogany's family has been left to grapple with the unimaginable loss of a daughter, a sister, and a mother. But in their grief, they have found a strength that is both inspiring and heartbreaking. They have vowed to fight for justice, not just for Mahogany, but for all victims of such senseless violence. Prosecutors have announced their intent to seek the death penalty for those most directly responsible for Mahogany's murder. They argue that the crime's cruelty demands the harshest possible punishment. This decision has sparked conversations within the community, conversations about justice, accountability, and what it truly means to honor Mahogany's memory. Vigils have been held in her honor, with hundreds gathering to light candles and share stories about the young woman who meant so much to so many. The community has come together not only to mourn, but to demand action and ensure that no other family has to endure such pain. Mahogany's story has become a rallying cry, a call to action that reaches far beyond her Alabama hometown. It's a reminder of the fragility of life and the strength of those who refuse to let injustice have the final word. Her family continues to fight, their voices growing louder with each passing day, determined to ensure that Mahogany's legacy will never fade. What do you think should happen to the suspects in this case? The details we've shared are as chilling as they are heartbreaking, and it's difficult to process the full extent of what Mahogany Jackson endured. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters in keeping this conversation alive. Do you believe the justice system will deliver the justice that Mahogany deserves? It's a question that weighs heavily on the minds of her family, her community, and all those following this case. Will the legal process ensure accountability for those responsible? Or will gaps in the system leave room for doubt? Let us know where you stand. If this story has moved you, if you believe Mahogany's story deserves to be heard far and wide, take a moment to hit the like button. Your support helps amplify her voice and ensures that the fight for justice doesn't end here. And remember, these stories are more than just headlines. They are about real people whose lives were forever changed. Stay engaged, stay informed, and let's keep Mahogany's legacy alive together. Today, we've explored the heartbreaking case of Mahogany Jackson, a young mother whose life was cut short in a way no one should ever have to endure. Her story reminds us of how fragile life can be, how quickly everything can change, and how deeply injustice can shake an entire community. Yet, it also highlights the power of resilience, the determination of her family, and the importance of coming together to demand answers. Mahogany Jackson will never be forgotten. Her story will continue to echo as a call for justice and accountability. In our next video, we'll delve into another tragic case, a story filled with unanswered questions that have left investigators searching for clues. It's a case that reveals just how complex and puzzling the pursuit of justice can be. Make sure you don't miss it. If you've been moved by Mahogany's story, take a moment to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you help us bring light to the stories that matter, ensuring they are never lost to time. Together, we can honor the lives of those who can no longer speak for themselves.